This green piece standing up here on the side, really special, unique, one of a kind, and stick around, you're gonna want to see what it is. Back from the swap meet, Fort Worth, Texas, the Motor Speedway. This is the Pate Swap Meet. Show everybody the inside of the van. Just open the doors and go through all of what I brought back. Take a quick look at everything that's in here and it'll give you a little insight to some of the projects upcoming and me as a collector.
I thought it was like an air conditioner.
Pick it up, yeah.
Just set one down.
That's good right there.
Something that somebody gathered.
Yeah. They built it out of a wrecked 60 Impala, so this is actually the taillight panel.
Oh, awesome.
And then they cut the whole body apart. This thing's super cool. So here's a look around what I brought back. First piece is this 1969 Chevrolet full-size wagon tailgate skin. I bought this thinking that it was the correct one for my Impala Kingswood wagon, but you can see the two taillights there in the skin. This is actually for a Townsman wagon, which was on the Bel Air series. So fortunately, I do have a complete spare gate for the Kingswood wagon, so this piece probably will be just something available for resale. Then another NOS GM part is the 71 Chevrolet full-size car rear bumper. It's got the green protective coating on it there. And then I did find this 1962 Chrysler rear bumper. That's a takeoff part from a fairly new car, so the chrome is very good on it. Pretty expensive to replate bumpers now, and so I figured if somebody's building a driver on a budget, that's a good, clean, presentable bumper. Kind of funny story on that. I walked by the booth and just was kind of spitballing, asked the guy if he knew what that went to, and he said Buick. I said, no, it's Chrysler. And we bantered back and forth, and when it was all said and done, I owned it. We've got a wrecked fire chief pedal car. Old thing's led a pretty hard life. I have a friend that collects wrecked cars. He has a body shop, so that'll be a really neat piece for him for display. And then we've got the plaid plastic floor mat. Poodles, plaid, Plymouths, Pugios. Please subscribe. Over here, this is probably the greatest piece of the whole meet. So after the end of the day, they let people ride around on four-wheelers, go-karts, whatever, at the end of the show. And so my feet were tired, and I was just literally thumbing rides with strangers and kind of seeing the meet. And I caught this thing out of the corner of my eye. I was riding on the back of their golf cart, and I was like, stop, let me off. And I looked at this thing like I knew instantly what it was. I could see it just from the corner of my eye under their table. This is a home-built go-kart, obviously depicting a Jeep, but you look closer and it's built from recycled car parts. So this is a 60 Chevy Impala rear washboard. That's actually a 58 Pontiac grill. Headlights for it are 60 Impala backup lights. And you look around, the guy actually built it from like the fenders and quarter panels of the 60 Impala. Built a tube frame out of conduit, brazed it all together, and just hammer formed the body panels of the Impala over it. It's got a little gas engine in it. Stuff like this I really, really love just because it's completely unique. It's one of one. It's not some factory piece. It's one person's build, and it's the vision that they had. I like old Popular Mechanics magazines, Mechanics Illustrated, because it seems like in there they had a lot of plans for, you know, build your own boat, build your own cart, build your own air compressor. And each one of these just shows the resourcefulness and the talent of the people who created them and their vision and passion to the craftsmanship and use of tools to achieve it. So every time I see something like this, it's just kind of a passion of mine to resurrect them and get them going again. So look for some of that later here on the channel. Did find a couple NOS sets of seat covers. 58 Pontiac wagon is the blue set. And then below there is 56 Chrysler and DeSoto two-door hardtop in green. I like selling those on eBay just because upholstery is expensive, and a set of those for a few hundred might save somebody a few thousand. Really, really neat sign. It's a Andy Rooney reproduction, but the subject matter and the language and the verbiage on that is just impeccable. Really, really neat piece. I'll be gifting that to a friend of mine that has an old house that he's fixing up. Kind of a mansion, I guess you'd call it. The foot-operated horizontal tire pump. Very, very rare piece. I've never seen another, and so I just had to have it. 1979 Monte Carlo corner light. Very rare piece, 1 year only. 78 was on its own, 79, 80. Very hard to find. NOS ones will bring 600 a piece. And so to find something like that in this condition for fairly reasonable at the meet, I picked it up. Good eBay piece. 57 Chevy truck, spare tire hanger. Another good eBay piece that might bring 200 on eBay. So the little eBay stuff like that is just a good way to fund the rest of the stuff that I kind of collect. Another good eBay piece, 69 Mopar alternator.
It has been rebuilt, but it hasn't been sandblasted to the point where the lettering's obscured. 40th week of 69 on the date code, so that would be correct probably for a early 70 build date.
And over here we've got the steel yucca plant. I thought this thing was really cool because these are handcrafted by artisans in Mexico, and it's just a really neat piece of the Southwest culture. Call it a souvenir from Texas. And the neatest thing about it is those burned edges actually make it look like a real plant. Guy was really fun to talk to at his booth there, and just cool little piece of decor. My cat likes it too. The cat thinks it's real. Got a 86 through 90 Chevy Caprice grill. You guys know I have tons of those cars and always looking out for them. Grill is cheap, 20 bucks, so I thought, hey, why not have a spare one around? 67 Chevy Impala grills. Saw my last video of the 67 Impala from Bud's Salvage in Allen, Oklahoma. Junkyard rescue. Whole front end of that car was missing, so I need to collect bumper and all these parts, and these grills were a great start toward that. 1947 through 54 Chevy truck fenders. These are reproed, but they're like 600 a piece new. Was able to pick these up for pretty cheap because they need work. I've got enough pieces to build probably like half a dozen of these trucks. I have a friend that's doing custom frames for them, built out of G-body cars. I helped him cut up like 50 junkyard G-body frames in 2018, and so I'm hoping later on this year, maybe in the summer when it's hot and there's not sales and auctions and stuff scheduled, probably go out with him, build a bunch of frames and put some trucks together. Spare trailer rim, didn't really need it, but for 10 bucks it's a crime of opportunity. I'll mount a tire on it, either use it for the trailer or for a roller. Took a chance on half of a porcelain sign. I'm guessing Petroleum Company. If you know the brand, drop a comment below. It's red, white, and blue, which a lot of companies used, so let me know what the brand is and I'll start the search for the other half. Found a sticker place. This is like 70 bucks worth of stickers. Really cool. I like the small ones here. I thought they'd be neat to do like round signs. Way early in my videos, I was doing Diecast and I made a little Southwest diorama building, and so I thought those little round ones would be neat to do. Maybe like some signs just to change it up, turn it into a Edsel dealer or a Speedway gas station. And on the diecast theme, we've got some Malace GM cars. These are really obscure ones. They're out of production, so kind of hard to find. Early on when I started the channel, I was doing diecast just because it was during the COVID lockdown. There weren't sales or anything like that, no swap meets, no shows, and I basically just chilled out in my garage with diecast cars. Then the channel's kind of taken another direction here, but if world ever goes crazy again, I'll still have those to kind of revert back to, I guess.
Found these vintage Matchbox. Thought it'd be kind of neat to do a bit of a junkyard diorama so you can see the early workings of that going on here. A couple of these got some playware, but they do have the matching original boxes, which was really cool to find. The purple Volkswagen there, probably in my retirement, I'll sandblast that thing and repaint it to stock and put a stock set of tires on it. 64 Impala 4-door hardtop taxi, probably my favorite of all Matchbox ever made, just because it's proportionally, I mean, it's just dead on. The others, I'm always excited to find Husky because they're really rare. Then the police car there with the smashed inside, that's actually a little revolving panel, so you can get realistic collision damage. That was one of my favorites as a kid, so picked that one up just for memories. Original case. Then we've got some cans, some old boxes, another one of the GM cans, the little Coca-Cola lighter there, that's actually in 2 pieces and it pops off and it's got the little striker, kind of a rare one. Western Auto reel. A lot of people don't think of Western Auto as having other stuff, but they were kind of a 5 and dime variety type store. Then one of the neatest pieces is these Autolite starter brushes. Not super exciting, but to me they're very significant because the guy that I bought them from, he was doing his booth with his dad's auto parts. His dad had done the Pate Swap Meet for decades, and he was like, my dad died, and a lot of other people might have either just, you know, tossed the stuff in a dumpster or sold it for cheap in a lot, but he was like, I'm gonna continue to do the Pate Swap Meet because this is my dad's legacy. And I just thought that was super neat that he would carry that on. And also when I was 13, my dad taught me how to rebuild a Ford Falcon starter, which is what these brushes are by the part numbers, C2DZ. D is Falcon and Comet. And so this little Autolite box has just a real tangible significance to me for the swap meet and for my participation in the hobby as a whole, because when I was in 6th, 7th grade, my dad helped me play hooky from the school and go around to the swap meet, and so super significant little box. I did find a set of these saw blade wheels. These are the correct wheel to duplicate the Supernatural car. After COVID has disrupted the supply chain, these are no longer commercially available in reproduction, and so you can't just go to Summit or Jegs and buy them. So you got to take the old used grungy ones like this, clean them up, because you can't just go buy them off the shelf. These bumper guards are NOS. They were used 59 through 63. I think each year is different because of the different tapers of the bumper. I was super excited to find those. The guy had all Chevy stuff at his booth, and when I told him these were Ford parts, he made me a cheap price and said, get them out of here. So that was kind of fun. Then on to hubcaps. This set here, I think were used on trailers. They're like a 30s, 40s, 50s era. I've had the smaller ones and sold them on eBay. A lot of campers used them. I've never had this bigger diameter set. These were cheap, so I was like, I'll give them a whirl. Then we've got 63 Chevy Bel Air and Biscayne caps. I've seen them on Impalas also. And then I believe they recycled them in 66 or 67 and put them on the Novas. But they did change up the paint scheme. 59 Dodge. Dog dish cap, very rare cap. A friend of mine has a 59 Dodge police car. It was like a highway patrol two-door sedan, and he's got 3 of these. So I saw this thing laying on the table, instantly knew what it was when I spotted it, and was over the moon to hand the guy the cash and get it. 69 through 77, I believe, Chevy C20 four-wheel drive cap. Pretty rare. Stainless, somebody's painted it white, so that could go either way. I would imagine somebody probably want to strip it and put it on a stainless truck. 68 Dodge gear style cap. Pretty rare cap, pretty desirable. And those bring good money on eBay, so I was excited to get it. Then 67 only F250 cap. Very, very rare cap, hard to find. It's got the inner snap style mounting. I've only had like one of these in all 20 years I've done parts, so super excited to find that. 59 Pontiac dog dish. And then I believe this is 58 Oldsmobile. 67 and 68 Chevy cap. Then 62 Pontiac Catalina. I built the AMT model kit of that Catalina when I was a kid, so instantly recognized those sitting on the guy's trailer. I got to dig through that trailer and pick out the caps. That was kind of a fun thing to do, and take them home, identify them, clean them up. The Chevy V8 badge, 1960 to 62 truck. Pretty rare badge, they're not repro'd. That little piece there will do like $250 on eBay. Then NOS vent window frame, I think is also for 60 to 63 Chevy truck. Not sure, but take it around the yard, try and identify it against the vehicles I have here. 66 Falcon headlight bezel. 66 is a good year because that was the last year that the Ranchero was built on the Falcon chassis, so Falcon and Ranchero guys will be looking for that. And it is the passenger side, which generally I find gets knocked around more because the driver can't see it. So passenger side trim parts, generally more guys looking for them. Then another passenger side trim piece. This is 59 Chevy El Camino and station wagon taillight. Good property there, not repro'd. 60 Impala. This is the bird for the door. It is a two-door because it's got the tip separate. So that's a good piece for anybody with a 60 Impala convertible or two-door hardtop. Hubcaps here are Lion aftermarket. They're new old stock. They're beautiful, pristine caps. I got that pair for $100. On eBay, those are probably $500 or $600. Just because the old custom crowd, they really dig them, and they're not specific to any brand. So it's kind of fun to wonder what the people think the Crest is. I always like playing on that because, like, at the guy's booth, I was like, hey, what brand are those? And he was just dogmatically certain that they were DeSoto, and I didn't tell him, I just bought them. Then a little more paper. Got the Ford Fiesta sales brochure. My mom bought one of these brand new. It was a terrible car, but my dad, he was committed to wringing all the miles out of it that he could, which was a mere 108,000 before it was clapped out and he parked it. 61 Lincoln. First year of the slab suicide door Lincolns. Then this Cadillac. 61, 62. Believe that's 61 with the little pod tail lights like that. I really, really like these cars. Like to see about finding one sometime, but who knows. We got the Vauxhall. I do actually own a Vauxhall station wagon, and so kind of excited to find this. There's not a whole lot of Vauxhall stuff around. Kind of neat because it's like a 3/4 scale 56 Chevy. That's the easiest way to describe it to people. Then we got the Morris Minor. This one's a fold out, so be kind of neat to maybe frame that, but then you don't get to see the other side, so may or may not. But you can see the little traveler wagon there. I've still got mine. I actually did get the hood open on it, and thinking probably won't be too difficult to attempt to will it run on that, so stay tuned later. Then we've got the vintage Volkswagen magazine and Peterson book. I've got Peterson books for a lot of others, but didn't have the VW, so that's a great one to run across. Then the gasoline filler cans. I've got tons of these. Every time I see one for 10 bucks or less, I just buy it because I like to collect them. Don't really know why, but they're super neat. So if you ever want to catch me in a trap, just bait it with an old gas can and you'll catch me no problem. Lone Star Cadillac tag frame and Oldsmobile. This is a early style frame, like 47 to maybe 55. Texas used that size. So found that 53 plate to go with it, just to display them together. Then we've got the little tag topper. Super neat vintage subject matter on that one. And plain tag frame. Livingston. The guy that I got these from, that's actually a pair, he said all they had was Fords. So I'm guessing that's a Ford dealer. Haven't looked it up yet. Leeway truck freight. Vintage Chevrolet. This one you can tell is an oldie because it's plain on the bottom. It doesn't say GM licensed. So those always trade for a little more money than the modern licensed ones. Then we've got Tom and Alan, Louisiana personalized souvenir plates. Exhaust donut gaskets. I gave the guy 15 bucks for those. I figured they're worth quite a bit more than that if you go to buy them, just because the supply chain is a little bit funky right now. Then vintage hand-carved panel. I really like art stuff. I know this is a car channel. I did a video back a while ago of my own art that not a lot of people watched, but that's all right. I always have a fantasy of doing wood carving like this with a automotive theme, and so I just picked this up kind of to hang up for inspiration for future projects such as that, maybe in my retirement. A few other little pieces. This is a vintage spark plug tire pump. I've never used one, but you take the spark plug out, you thread the piece in, and it uses engine compression to fill a tire. Obviously strictly an emergency thing, but really neat old relic of its time. Then 54 Chevrolet factory tool set. This is probably as close to complete as possible. There may be another little wrench or two that might go with it. And there is not a pliers with it either. These had a Velchek brand pliers that went with them. And so if you ever find a Velchek pliers, they're actually valuable to sell on eBay because that is a factory assembly line early Chevrolet tool. If you ever also find, I don't remember the brand, but there's a factory Porsche screwdriver that were really valuable. I can't remember the brand off the top of my head, but the screwdriver from the Chevy is Velchek. You can see the little V in the shield emblem there. Probably trivia that not a lot of people care about, but I saw these marked and I instantly knew what they were and made the guy an offer and owned them. Got a vintage 30s grill shell bottom piece, super hard to find. Does have the crank hole cover. You can see the tabs, you pop it out, it's all there complete. So that'll be a good eBay piece. That'll make somebody's grill complete, and they'll be over the moon to have that when it's listed. Vintage oval back window, I'll probably give that to Joe. He can take it out and hold it up to some of his 30s and 40s cars and identify it. Probably my favorite piece of the whole meet is the How to Hustle book. I believe it's from 1905, and it just talks about how to get ideas for buying and selling things and opportunities, investments, kind of figuring out your own self-employment. I love reading stuff like this. Anything that's over 100 years old just takes on its own significance of the era that it came from. And that book, it'll be super neat winter reading, we'll just say that. Bumper behind here, I believe 37 Plymouth. I'll check it out. Took a chance on it for 10 bucks. Figure somebody out there with a 37 Plymouth probably looking for that. 61, 62 Cadillac hubcaps. It's the old premise of I'll buy the part and then look for the car. Got some vintage vehicles. These are a little bigger than Hot Wheels size. Got the old 61, 62 Cadillac there. Moving van, the taxi's super neat. And then we've got some built Johan promos. I believe these are the later ones that were done by XL because they're traditional plastic body. If they were the real early ones, they probably would have warped. Really, really nice built up cars, especially the olds with the bare metal foil on the trim. Felt like those were undervalued for the presentation and the condition that they were in, so I snagged them up. A few more pieces of paper. 72 Fury operator's manual. I do have a 72 Fury. And then, of course, 67 Chevy. Saw in the video from Buds. You know I've been looking out for them. Then we've got 1986 or 7 Chevrolet accessory book. Every model is in here. And all the stuff to put on your truck, your car, your Cavalier, your van, your Blazer, your S10, your Camaro, you name it, it's in here. Super neat old book. And then we got the Chevrolet TBI swap book. I've been buying up 88 to 94 trucks because I believe that's a very durable engine, very reliable. I've had tons of them in the old trucks, and look out for them. Most of them you can buy for junk for $500, $600, $800 tops, and a lot of times they'll either have, I don't know, dead fuel pumps, dead transmissions, body damage, whatever, but the engine's almost always good in them, and I'll take an engine out of one of those, the whole harness, the transmission, and they're just good to swap into anything that came with a small block. So TBI motors, not a lot of power, but I know everybody's doing the LS thing, but for me they're completely adequate. Appreciate everybody sticking around to look at the swap meet haul. It was a really fun meet, and it's fun to find this stuff, to tell the story of it, to meet new people, and appreciate everybody coming along to check it out with me.
Got it all.